method where you just talk about it on your Word document, and the second one will be trying to do a puzzle piece. Let's get started on typing up our Word document. So you're going to get on your computer, you're going to open this new blank page that you're about to fill with your outline. So the first thing I do specifically is I make a chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4, chapter 5, because for some reason that is how my stories start. I have like the first 5 chapters ready to go in my head, and I just dash that off. And below each chapter I put about 3 bullet points. The reason I choose 3 bullet points is because I want to make sure that every chapter has a complete feel. By putting 3 bullet points, it represents the beginning, the middle, and the end. The reason I do it that way is not only to maintain that, but just to take advantage of the ending of a chapter, because then you can make sure you're getting in that ooh or ah moment for that chapter, and you can see which chapters are faster than others. It has a lot to do with your novel. Now, if you want to add more bullet points, you obviously can, but I do want you guys to remember that your outline does not need to be super long. It does not need to be super short. For me, I would say with the Days That Are on Fell, which is the first book I ever published, with this, it was about 3 pages long because my book is only 20 chapters, and it took about like 3 pages in a Word document. Most people that I know who write, or other YouTubers I've seen, they have really long outline. Like in a Word document, it can be like 20, 30 pages. It doesn't have to be that long. If you want it to be that long, it can be that long. Personally, just know that there is someone out there that does not make really long freaking outlines. So don't worry, you're not alone if you do short outlines that A, are, not as long as everyone else's, and B, only you can understand, because I'm pretty sure if I showed you guys my outline for my novels, you wouldn't understand one darn word of it. It's so easy for me to write my chapters. It's being a writer. I think that's what it really is. We write nonsensically, but then it comes out beautifully for other people to read. This is also with the outlining. You can just take this time to title your chapter headings. It doesn't actually have to make it to the actual novel. This is just so when you open up your outline while you're writing and you're referencing back to your outline, you don't have to read every single bullet point. What was chapter 6 about again? You just look up and see the title, and then you'll be like, oh, that's what this chapter was about. And you can start writing, and then you can, refer back to the bullet point to read them every single solitary time you open up this document. I use this time to put in character details. So if we're in chapter 8, for instance, we can put in character details for someone who's just appearing for the first time, or not a main character, but just like someone you're only going to see once, but you have like very specific character traits for them that you want to remember. You can also put in details like items or trinkets that your characters may have, things that are very specific. You can put those in bold, or you can highlight them, which I will talk about later. But you might want to highlight names that only pop up once, or if you're talking about someone's brother, you can highlight those. You can put those character details in there, and I find that helps me out too, because then I don't have to wonder, where did I put that detail again, or did I want to put something here and I forgot to put it here? Gotta put in the character details. And my final tip for this specific method would be saving your document. And I do not mean saving your document the first time when you're first typing it up and you're like, yes, okay, I wrote my entire outline, or the first 5 chapters that I want for my outline. This is when you come back to your outline, if you're anything like me, you kind of outline in chunks as you go along, and you have you just freshly written in chapter for 6, 7, and 8 in your outline, and then you forget to save it, and now it's not there, and now you have to figure out how to re-outline those exact same points in the exact same way you had it the first time because you forgot to save it, or you saved it but you only saved it on your computer and then the file went corrupt. I've been a victim of that like too many times to count. If you don't know what a corrupt file is, it's pretty much when you try to open it and your computer won't let you, or it opens up the file and it has a bunch of symbols all over it that make no freaking sense because your file's all corrupt and you can't get it. What you need to do is you need to save it. You need to save it everywhere. You need to save it on Google Drive. You need to save it on your email, on your computer, on your flash drive. And if you want to be really safe about it and need an even further backup, email it to yourself or someone you trust like a friend or your writer buddy or something, Like I said, since I've been a victim of this so many times, this is actually how I started using Google Drive, because my computer is mean to me and I was using OpenOffice at the time to do it and my files kept corrupting. My outlines have seen better days now thanks to Google Drive. Moving on to phase number 2. This is the puzzle piecing method, which I would say is very popular on YouTube. A lot of people are using this method. I know about 2 people personally that use this method other than myself, and this is when you take index cards or sticky notes or little pieces of paper, whatever you have, and you write down little scenes and incidents throughout the story and you put them on the sticky note, and then you're like moving them all around to make them fit and make sure your story's fluid and looking at it. People either do this with a big trifold project board. Wouldn't recommend doing this on the floor or on a bed or anything that's going to possibly get run over by someone or tossed or ran over by your like pet or something. Gotta do it in a safe zone. That way people don't accidentally tear up your freaking puzzle piecing method of an outline at the moment, because this is gonna take you a while. And I underestimated how long it was going to take me to do this puzzle piecing phase, especially since this was my first time trying it, and it is very effective. And I'm doing it for my book Fragment, which there's a video on. And my story has 4 characters telling their story. It's a multiple storyline story. If you're doing a multiple storyline story, you will not be able to type your outline at all. So you want to do it the safe way. The way I decided to do it is with the sticky notes, and I stuck the sticky notes to the wall in my bedroom, which is actually behind you guys, but yeah. And it's on the wall, all nice and neat, away from people and animals and things. So one tip that I have, especially if you're doing multiple storylines, like I said, like me, if you're going to be cutting these up into chapters, which eventually you will, whether it be while you're moving the puzzle pieces or you've completed the puzzle. If you have multiple storylines, you probably want to use some highlighters or different colored markers. Because I specifically had to use some color coding for this process, because you can take advantage of it being cut up into chapters at the moment. So I gave all of my characters a color. The colors I used were purple, blue, green, and pink, and I assigned them to a character. And I used that marker color on the chapter number that they would be narrating. This helped me out to remember who's going to narrate what chapter. There's also on a separate sticky note, I made a list of numbers and I did a bunch of markings, and while I was looking at the sticky note I could tell who has the most chapters, who's talking the least, and it can help you even out your chapters or your characters telling their story. That way no one's getting more time to tell their story than the others, if that's what you want. I was trying to keep it as even as possible for my book. If you don't want to do that and you have a really quiet character who doesn't talk too much, then this is your chance to take advantage of that and make sure that they get the least amount of chapters if that's the way you want to do it. It's also a good way where you can just kind of squish it all together. That way you can not only identify plot holes, but you can squish it together in a way that you don't have any filler content. I don't know a better way of saying that, frankly. Just you won't have plot holes because you'll know how to do it, and then you'll just swish it and everything will just be pure content, pure good wholesome plot driving content, and that is what we want. We want books with no filler content. So that's pretty much my tips for that. Also, after you're done with the puzzle pieces, take a picture of it or transfer it onto something else. So you might want to take a picture of it and write it down on a separate sheet of paper and, you know, refer back to what I said earlier. You might want to type it up and email it to yourself and all of those things. At the moment, those are pretty much my tips for outlining. I hope they helped you guys out. I will definitely be using both of these methods in the future again. Good luck with outlining. Please outline your novel. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to support me, you can buy my books on Amazon. This one is The Realm Painter. It is more of a contemporary fantasy. And this is my first book, The Day Zeron Fell. This is a high fantasy. Again, zero filler content. These both used outlines. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys next time, and I will leave links in the description below. Bye. Say bye, Georgie. Bye.